Welcome back to our California trip. This is part 3, which is our return trip home. But before we left the Willows, California, I went down the road to Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge. Now, this is rather unusual because normally this would be something John did, but I did it without John because he was on the racetrack. And I decided not to hang out there all day, so I headed down to the wildlife refuge. There's actually two parts to this park. There's a trail that you can walk, and then there is actually a drive-through section of it. Unfortunately, you don't hear all the birds. There are geese galore in the water, and you can hear them as I'm walking. But unfortunately, it's not loud enough to pick up on the microphone of the camera. We start with a nice little walk through their trails, which take you down into their wetlands and close to the water, but not close enough to get a really good shot of the birds. But they had some interesting things along the way, and it was a very nice walk, and it was a beautiful day. The drive-through portion at the Sacramento Wildlife Refuge Center is 6 miles long. There are a few areas where you can get out of the car and stretch, but you are basically not allowed to get out of your car through most of the ride because they do not want you disturbing the birds. And I can see people trying to get them to fly and all that, so I can understand why they do that. But there were 3 spots that you could pull over, you could do some photography, you could get out and stretch. It's basically a single lane road, although passing stopped vehicles is possible if they're generous enough to pull to one side or the other a little. When I was doing the drive through the refuge center, I was able to stop, and here's a sample of what you hear the whole ride. Here I was able to catch a bald eagle in a tree, and over the wetlands, I caught this bald eagle, which I believe is a golden eagle. Next are just a couple of pictures that were taken during the walk and during the drive. This was actually during the walk because I actually scared it into flight, which gave me a nice picture anyway. But here we have a hummingbird. And this just shows you that there are plenty of geese in this water. I almost feel like you could walk across the water stepping on them. We are now leaving Flagstaff, Arizona, where we just dropped off the rental car, and we are now back in the RV, and we are driving on Route 66 right now, and we will be heading to Williams, Arizona. And we just switched over to Interstate 40. And I'm not thrilled about the white lines in the road because obviously they treated this road for snow because they are calling for snow in the next few days. Hopefully it will not be as bad as last time we were there when there was over a foot of snow on our car when we came back from the Grand Canyon in Williams, Arizona. We have arrived at the Grand Canyon Railway and Hotel and RV Resort. We are walking into the RV resort right now from the office. We have already parked the Bagel, and Bagel 2 is straight ahead on the left where the arrow is. And that was our site for our stay here. We weren't sure whether we were going to be here for 1 night or 2 nights. We were scheduled for 2, but with weather we thought we might leave tomorrow after doing the Grand Canyon. But we did decide to stay. And here we are walking at the Grand Canyon Railway Station where we will get the train to the Grand Canyon tomorrow. And of course we're going to go and see a show tomorrow before the train ride.
Treated us I was looking over his shoulder the whole time.
Well, we weren't him. We have us a card chief. You know what we do with card chief?
We are now on the Grand Canyon Railway, and we are riding in the parlor car, which is the last car of the train, so we get to go out on the back deck during the train ride for fresh air and plus to take in the sights from behind or watching from the side. You will get to see the train and the shot in 3, 2, 1. And there you go, we have the whole train. Well, not the whole train, but we have more of the train in the picture. Here are some pictures that they took of us in the club car and out on the back deck. We are approaching the Grand Canyon station, and right here is where we start to do the Y. The Y is where they will turn the train around to go back down that track on the way back to the Grand Canyon Hotel and RV Park. So basically what is happening, we are going off on the right side of the Y. They will continue down the track till they clear the switch track, and then they will back the train up into the station, and they will be all ready to pull out going the other way. Of the Y, and we are going to cross over the switch track where they will stop the train. And now that the track has been switched, they will reverse the train and it'll back its way right into the station. Right ahead of us is the other switch that takes you down the other side of the Y and puts us back onto the main track which we came up on. And this is how they turn the train around up here, and they also have a Y down at the hotel part and station part of the trip. And now we slowly start to pull our way into the station where they will have buses for those who are going on bus tours, or you can go off to the left-hand side and walk up to the pathway along the Grand Canyon and see the Grand Canyon. This year we only did walking along the canyon. We did not do any bus tours or anything. But I believe at this time of the year we go back sooner because of them running the Polar Express trains at night. And the red arrow marks where we are. We will walk up to the El Tovar Hotel, make a reservation for our lunch, and then we will start walking around the Grand Canyon. Excuse me, could you move over that way a little? Thank you. I'm 6 feet tall. I want to hit those rocks. So being 6 feet tall, they told you that you wanted to walk far enough away that if you fall, you hit the rocks and don't go down into the Grand Canyon. As you walk along this area, they had stones that they had gotten from the canyon at various times, telling you the age of the stones. And it was quite interesting, and some of the rocks were quite colorful and fascinating. I kept seeing these holes in the ground, and we are on the penny timeline or whatever it is, and then I realized that the big plaques are missing. Now, whether they were stolen or just happened to be missing, I don't know.
Scatter that creek gang and we want all your money. So get out your fallen dollars. You ain't got no fallen money, give us your jingling money. Oh, looky here. Lady across from me thinks you're hungry. Come on now, no jingling money, platinum, gold, silver, diamonds. I'll even take gold teeth.
No old teeth.
It's okay, he's safe. It's gold teeth, not old teeth. Better let me have that. Where's he from? California?
Hey,
California, huh?
Tex.
Where you got?
Ladies' eyeballs. Go get it.
All right,
Oh,
you-
that's an old.
No, I think you should. I know. It's gonna be like climbing a tree. Go for it.
She's dead.
I don't
Wait,
think
we
she
bury her.
expected little people.
Don't open up your eyes now.
Now
You might
poke
get
one of
scared.
them. I think she was quite surprised when she opened her eyes. She thought it was gonna be tall, dark, and handsome. Instead, it was small, medium, and large.
Alright, how many?
There's 3 of them up front. They're out back, or whatever the hell it is.
Wait, 3 or 2.5?
About 2.5.
Y'all okay?
We're
They didn't
good.
take your virtue, did they, sir?
I never had any.
Okay. Y'all doing all right?
They took her virtue.
They took them like quarters right out of my eyeballs.
I don't know what's that. You didn't make physical contact with me. Oh man, you're gonna get sleep. You know that, right? I mean, that just ain't right.
That little
Can I
guy.
ask you a personal question? Does that gentleman belong to you? Ma'am, I'm a law enforcement officer. Now, this is a straight up question. Yes or no? Does that belong to you?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but I think you've already been robbed.
Hey! All right. Oh, don't think he caught us. Oh, we ran out of train.
We got him, folks!
See, I knew he'd take credit.
Told you we'd get him. We got him. Yeah, we got him. Keep moving, boys. Ah!
And here's a picture of the train from the front. And at night we took a little walk, and I tried to capture some of their Christmas lights that they had by the railroad station. And they had it decorated nicely at the station and over in the RV park area and all that. So unfortunately, I don't think the lights have turned up that great, so I'm not going to do a lot of the walk around for them. And here we have the engine for the trip home, so they don't have to turn it around or come backwards. I know I promised no more lights, but we were on our way to the pool and I wanted to show you around. And off here on the left we have the Fred Harvey restaurant, and there was a movie called The Harvey Girls, which had Judy Garland in it, among others, and was a movie about the rail lines and the restaurants and the girls serving and I believe falling in love and all that wonderful stuff. But anyway, here we have the walk back over to the other side. So we get to try out the pool. We are looking for another steam engine that we know they had decorated. Of course, the last time we were there, it was also covered with some snow. But that's what we're looking for on our way back to the pool and hot tub area. Okay, you jump in the pool from one end, go to the other end, and then get in the hot tub, and you stay there the rest of the night. Do you remember the Rainbow Cliff rest area that we stayed in Arizona on the way out? Well, this is coming back, and the rest area will be on our left side, which you won't see, but these are the mountains that were on the right side that the sun was shining and you didn't really get to see. Of course, as we're heading back, we actually had to get off the main highway because of a fire, and they sent us down this road to get back on the highway, but then we couldn't get back on the highway. As you can see, the smoke and all that is drifting this way, so we were in line for a good half hour, and we kept seeing vehicles coming back towards us, and we thought, we're going to get through, but no, those were the vehicles that they were making turn around and go back. Well, about a half hour before this, we passed a road that said no trucks, and John was going to have me take that road, but since it said no trucks, we decided not to do it. So now we're at the front of the line, and as soon as these trucks are done moving around, it will be my turn to swing the motorhome around. Now that it's my turn to turn around, I'm going to swing over here to the right a little, and I'm going to take advantage of that parking area next to that fifth wheeler that you saw a moment ago and swing around. A lot of fun to do. I don't know why I always get these rough jobs to do with the RV when I'm not that used to driving it. But it's a learning experience, let me tell you that.
In 1/2 mile, turn left on US 287 south, then take ramp left.
Well, that's not going to work. You want to try Austin Road here? Well, they seem to be sending it down. I'm mildly annoyed. We could have done that half an hour ago. Had you done it, it hadn't said no trucks.
Well, folks, we're about to make the right-hand turn onto Austin Road, which is no trucks. And we're going to speed it up a little because this could be a little boring. But this is the road we're going down, and as you can see, it's not real wide and no real good shoulders. But, you know, I do get to pull over a little, and we wait for this front loader. And then we're going to take off down the road. And I'm sure all these neighbors love all these trucks and other vehicles that are not going down this road because they didn't want to send us all the way back down to the road we came off of and then continue further down the road to come back up again. So they decided to just send us across this road. Now, of course, Waze wants us to make a right on the road when we can and then a left. And the left is like a 2-lane dirt road. It's basically a continuation of Austin Road. Here was a little tricky with the dirt being, you know, I'm trying to watch for potholes and everything, and so it was an interesting ride. And we're going to be coming up to the right-hand turn, and we will be continuing back up to our highway. Make our right turn, and then immediately to the left, those 2 lanes there is where Waze wanted us to continue, which we decided not to. But you can see all the smoke from the fire, and so you can understand why they didn't let us go on the other road, because I guess it was even thicker, or maybe the fire was closer to the road. So they send us down this way. This road's a little better, not much. You know, again, shoulders are not that good. You know, it's at least not a drop off. There is solid ground there. So we're headed up this road, and we're going to be making a left eventually and getting back to the highway that we need to get on. I'm starting to feel like the fog is setting in, and yet it's nothing but smoke. And then at some points we can even start smelling it in the car. And John does get a shot, I believe, of the fire in here somewhere. And it was the first time we saw it. I mean, we saw the smoke, but we did not see the actual fire for the most part. So here we're going to make our left turn, and we're going to follow all that traffic, and we're going to work our way back onto the highway that we are supposed to be on. Have to stop here and wait for this water truck coming through, and now we get to go. And we take a little right on this road here, back onto 287, I believe it is, and cross it, and then we can go down the entrance ramp and get on it. Of course, their entrance ramps are interesting because they're also two-way roads at a spot, and then it becomes a one-way onto the highway, as you will see shortly. So here it's marked as a two-lane road, and now it becomes a one-lane onto the highway. So I'm not exactly sure where the opposing traffic would be coming from. But anyway, we're back on the highway, and we're sailing down the road, and all is good, at least for a while. And as you can still see, there's still smoke, but we're traveling along, and things are good. A slight delay. It wasn't too far out of the way. Not as bad as the next one's going to be. So we're back on the highway traveling for a while, and then all of a sudden we come to another slowdown, and as you can see, there is another fire. And this is quite impressive because it almost goes the full width of this picture. I mean, and you can really see the flames. I've never seen anything like this, and it was a little scary because it seemed to be moving rapid, and I didn't know how fast we were going to get out of there. And basically, you see all the cars coming the other way. Well, this is another where they actually are stopping our lane, and there is an emergency turnaround that they are having us turn around on, and they would let so many go from one lane and then so many go from the other lane, and they kept going back and forth because otherwise this would be a madhouse. But you can just see those flames up there in the bushes and all that, and I mean it was very impressive. I've never seen anything like it. This was like a 19-mile detour to get there. So we've turned around on the highway. We're headed back the way we came, and we're eventually going to get off. After this detour, things got very good, and we traveled along, at least until we hit Dallas at night. And then, of course, we hit it at rush hour. And at this point, I'm no longer driving because John took over because my arms were killing me from fighting the wind all morning long. Fighting through traffic, we arrived at Martin Creek Lake State Park, and the red arrow showed where we were staying. We were staying here for 2 nights, and we arrived at dark time, which was fun backing into this spot. But this is the next day, and I'm showing you our site. We did go for a bike ride in the morning, but I turned around. It was that cold that my hands and legs were freezing because I was wearing shorts, sweatshirt. I had no gloves for my hands. So John continued riding around, and he eventually comes back, and he will take you for a ride on the bike paths and on the road of the campground. It was a beautiful place. Nice place to spend some more time. Very quiet. Not many people there. I mean, it is off season. It is December. Temperatures could have been a little warmer, but other than that, our stay there was a very nice stay. We're going to speed this up a little because otherwise it's a long, dragged out bike ride around the park and over to the island. I eventually walked the island with John, but since he's going to take you there on his bicycle, I decided not to include the walk around the island as part of this video. So sit back, relax, and John will take you through a nice tour of the campground and then over into the island and back. And now he's going to head across the bridge over to the island where there is tent camping and picnic tables. Actually, off to the right, which I don't think you see because he didn't go that way, is a tent actually set up. So he does this ride around the lake. In fact, I have a feeling he might do some parts twice, but I'm not 100% sure, so I didn't cut anything out. So enjoy the ride. So back behind those trees somewhere is our campsite, and this is the lake with the cold power electric plant over there with a nice huge pile of coal there you can see by the shore. And off to the left right here is the island where John just drove around on his bicycle. And that's the nice park. Here's the fishing pier, and here comes John and the bridge that went over to the island. The island does have tending available, but no RVs or anything like that. Off in the distance is Atlanta, Georgia, and this was a great ride, except for some stupid reason our GPS system told us to get in the left lane, which we did, and then by the time it told us to get in the right lane, we couldn't get over, and we actually wound up driving through downtown Atlanta, Georgia, which wasn't the most fun, although I wasn't driving, but you know, I don't know how often they see 35-foot RVs going through the downtown area. Of course, after going through downtown Atlanta, we were finally met up to get back onto the highway, and again, we were met with a pile of traffic. And it eventually did move, and we did eventually get to our spot. Unfortunately, we got there at night, and the campground we stayed at, which was River's Edge, didn't have the best marking system for their sites. So we pulled in, and we weren't 100% positive that we were in the right site, as you will shortly see when we get to River's Edge. So we now arrived at River's Edge, and we are supposed to be in Site 6, where the red arrow shows in the circle. And we got there at night, so we weren't sure. And what's confusing, the sign on the left there says Spot 7, Camper Right of Pole, but that would put the electric and the water hookup on the wrong side of the RV. So we did what we did. Well, they told us we could take whatever spot because there's nobody there. But as you see, the RV sites are sitting on grass, so there's no real marking of where you're supposed to park. Were we supposed to pull into this and pull all the way through? That I don't know. It seems unreal. It was a nice campground. Enjoyed our stay there. Had a beautiful hot tub we spent quite a bit of time in. And here we are at our final campground of this trip, which is the Natural Bridge, Lexington KOA, right off of 81. We are leaving the campground now, and we are headed back to Pennsylvania. And it has been a good trip, even with the breaking down of the RV, which was sort of fun. Here we are. We are about to enter into, I believe, West Virginia. And up ahead, you can see that great sign, Welcome to Pennsylvania. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I release new ones.